Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayanti Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavasevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 41, Krishna and Balram entered Mathura. So yesterday we discussed how Krishna and Balram have entered Mathura, and cowherd boys were with them, and they went first. They killed this dhobi who refused to give them the clothes. But then another weaver came by and he said they are beautiful lords and they are wearing Kansa's clothes. So he made them some more ornaments and other clothes for them to put on. And they look beautiful. And the other cowherd boys, they put on other clothes of Kansa and they threw rest of the clothes on the road. They didn't care. That's Gopas. So further it says, can you all hear me?
Yes, Babuji.
Anjali Mata sent a message, she cannot hear. Mata, you please check your speakers. Tasya prasanno bhagavan pradat sarupyam atmanah shriyam cha paramam loke balaishwarya smritindriyam. Pleased with the weaver, the Supreme Lord Krishna blessed him that after death he would achieve the liberation of attaining a form like the Lord's, and that while in this world he would enjoy supreme opulence, physical strength, influence, memory, and sensory vigor. Just by serving the Lord, this much. Of course, to be born in Mathura, he must have done plenty of devotion service before, but here in front of Krishna, all he did gave him some clothes to make him look more attractive. And Krishna blessed him. In this life, Krishna says, you will enjoy supreme opulence, physical strength, influence, memory, sensory vigor, and after death, you will achieve liberation, a sarupya mukti in Vaikuntha. Tata sudamnu bhavanam malakarasya jagmatuhu to trishtva sa samuthaya nanam shirsa bhuvi. The two lords then went to the house of the garland maker, Sudama. Now this Sudama is different. When Sudama saw them, he at once stood up and then bowed down, placing his head on the ground. Tayor asanam aniya padyam chardyar hanadibhi pujam sanu vayo shakre sektam ulanu lepane. After offering them seats and bathing their feet, Sudama worshipped them and their companions with the argya garlands, palm, sandalwood paste, and other presentations. Prana sarthakam janma pavitam chakulam prabho pitri devar shayo mayam tushta hi agamane navam. Sudama said, "O Lord, my birth is now sanctified and my family free of contamination. Now that you have both come here, my forefathers, the demigods, and the great sages are certainly all satisfied with me. Bhavanto kil vishwasya jagata karanam param avatirno vihachena kshemaya cha bhavaya cha." You two lords are the ultimate cause of this entire universe. To bestow sustenance and prosperity upon this realm, you have descended with your plenary expansions. So Sudama, see Krishna, if somebody has devotion service, Krishna gives him the mercy, gives him the knowledge by which he knows Krishna more. Nahi vam vishma drishti suhriddor jagadatmano samyo sarva bhuteshu bhajantam bhajatorapi. Because you are the well-wishing friends and supreme soul of the whole universe, you regard all with unbiased vision. Therefore, although you reciprocate your devotees' loving worship, you always remain equally disposed toward all living beings. Tavagyapayam prityam kim aham karvani vam bunso ati anugriho yesha bhavadbhir yanniyujyate. Please order me, your servant, to do whatever you wish. To be engaged by you in some service is certainly a great blessing for anyone. So to be engaged by you in some service. So Krishna has, by his mercy and through Srila Prabhupada, he has given us plenty of service. And if you do that, it's just a great blessing for anybody who does this service. There's so many services one can do. Iti abhiprete Rajendra Sudama Prita Manasa Shaste Sugandha Kusume Mala Virachita Dado. Shukdev Goswami continued, the best of kings having spoken these words, Sudama could understand what Krishna and Balram wanted. Thus, with great pleasure, he presented them with garlands of fresh, fragrant flowers. Tavi Sulankrito Prito Krishna Ramo Sahanugo Pranataya Prapannaya Dadatur Vardovaran. Beautifully adorned with these garlands, Krishna and Balram were delighted, and so were their companions. The two lords then offered the surrendered Sudama, who was bowing down before them, whatever benedictions he desired. Sopi vavre achalam bhaktim tasminneva khilatmani tad bhakteshu cha sohartam bhuteshu cha dayam param. Sudama chose unshakable devotion for Krishna, the supreme soul of all existence, friendship with his devotees, and transcendental compassion for all living beings. So this is a mood of a devotee. What they want, they just want devotion for Krishna and friendship with his devotees and transcendental compassion for all living beings. So everybody they can motivate, encourage to take up devotion service. Iti tasmai varam dattva shriyam chanya vivardhinim balamayur yashakantim nirjagam sahagrajaha. Not only did Lord Krishna grant Sudama these benedictions, but he also awarded him strength, long life, fame, beauty, and ever-increasing prosperity for his family. Then Krishna and his elder brother took their leave. We can see a clear difference between Krishna's dealings with the nasty washerman and his dealings with the devoted florist Sudama. The Lord is as hard as thunderbolt for those who defy him, and as soft as a rose for those who surrender to him. Therefore, we should all sincerely surrender to Lord Krishna, since that is clearly in our self-interest. So by doing bhakti, devotion, one is a winner everywhere, materially, spiritually, both places. One cannot be a loser. So thus ends the purpose to 10th canto, 41st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Krishna and Balram Enter Mathura. So we'll start text, chapter 42, the breaking of the sacrificial bow. Text 1. Shri Shukuvacha Atha Vrajana Rajpathena Madhava Striyam Gritang Vilepa Bhajanam Vilokya Kubajam Yuvatim Varananam Paprichayantim Prahasan Rasprada. Shukdev Goswami said, as he walked down the King's Road, Lord Madhav then saw a young hunchback woman with an attractive face who carried a tray of fragrant ointments as she walked along. The bestower of the ecstasy of love smiled and inquired from her as follows. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the young hunchbacked girl was actually a partial expansion of Lord's wife, Satyabhama. Satyabhama is the Lord's internal energy known as Bhu-Shakti, and this expansion of hers, known as Prithvi, represents the earth, which was bent down by the great burden of countless wicked rulers. Lord Krishna descended to remove these wicked rulers, and thus his pastime was straightening out the hunchback Trivakra because she was bent at three places, as explained in these verses, represents his rectifying the burdened condition of the earth. At the same time, the Lord awarded Trivakra a conjugal relationship with himself. In addition to the given meaning, the word Rasaprada indicates that the Lord amused his cowherd boyfriends by his dealings with a young hunchback. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying this Kubja was expansion of Prithvi, and because Prithvi was burdened by the presence of all these different kings, so she was hunched, she was bending over, and Krishna, because Krishna fixed Kubja's back. So in the same way, Krishna is going to take care of the Mother Earth by killing all the demoniac kings. But there is also another story, the story of Kubja, and who she was in a previous life is extremely interesting. This story starts during the time of Lord Ram, when he was exiled in the forest with Lakshman and Sita. When these three transcendental personalities were in the Panchavati forest, a Rakshasi named Shrupnaka fell passionately in love with Lord Ram. As Lord Ram would only accept one wife, was not interested in her at all, Rakshasi had no chance to marry him. This made her exceedingly angry, and displaying her Rakshasa nature, she tried to devour Sita Devi. Because of this inhuman display, Lakshman became angry, and taking his sword, he cut off her ears and nose. Shrupnaka then ran to Lanka and told Ravan about all that happened to her. After this, she went to Pushkar Tirtha. And desiring to get Lord Ram as her husband, she meditated on Lord Shiva while underwater for 10,000 years. Lord Shiva became pleased by this meditation and granted her any boon she desired. Shrupnaka said that Lord Shiva was a great master of the demigods, was dear to the great saints, and had all power to grant benedictions. Therefore, she wanted that Lord Ram would become her husband. Lord Shiva apologized that at the present, her desire would not be able to be fulfilled, but in future, in Mathura, during the appearance of Lord Krishna, she would have her desires fulfilled. Thus, Shrupnaka became Kubja in Mathura, and by Lord Shiva's blessings, she became the beloved of Lord Krishna. So this story is there. So Shrupnaka became Kubja. And because she had tried to eat up Sita Devi, she became this hunchback and little disfigured. And now Krishna will fix her up because she had gone through all her karmic reactions. Katvam varor veta duhanu lepanam kasyangane va katyasva sadhuna deyavaro yor anga vilepam uttamam shreyas tataste nachirada bhavishyat. Lord Krishna said, "Who are you, O beautiful thighed one? Oh, ointment? Who is it for, my dear lady? Please tell us truthfully. Give us both some of your finest ointment, and you will soon gain a great boon." The Lord jokingly addressed the lady as Varoru, O beautifully thighed one. His joke was not malicious, since he was actually about to make her beautiful. So this is a whole idea. She approached Lord Ram and with the mood of as a conjugal person, but in the process she got upset and she wanted to devour Sita Devi. But here she approached Krishna with the same mood, but with a devotional intention. Let's see what she did. Sarandhriya vacha dasyasmi aham sundar kansa sammata trivikra nama hi anulepa karmani madbhavitam bhojapate rati priyam vina yuvam ko anya tamastad arhati. The maidservant replied, "O handsome one, I am a servant of King Kamsa, who highly regards me for the ointments I make. My name is Trivakra. Who else but you too deserve my ointments, which the Lord of the Bhojas like so much?" Bhojaraj means Kansa. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Trivakra, who is also known as Kubja, used a singular address, Sundar, O handsome one, to hint that she felt conjugal desire for Krishna alone. And she used a dual form, Yuvam, for both of you, to try to hide her conjugal sentiment. But Krishna knows everything. Krishna knows who is what and who has what kind of mood for me. The hunchback's name, Trivakra, indicates that her body was bent at the neck, chest, and the waist. So for so many years, she was living like that, every day making this paste for Kansa, paste of sandalwood paste for Kansa. But now when Krishna came, she got immediately attracted to Krishna. Rupa Peshal Madhurya, Hasita Lapa Vikshita, Dharshitatma Dadao Sandram, Ubhyur Anulepanam. Her mind overwhelmed by Krishna's beauty, charm, sweetness, smiles, words, and glances. Trivakra gave both Krishna and Balram generous amounts of ointment. This incident is also described in the Vishnu Purana. Hearing this, she respectfully replied to Lord Krishna, "Please take it," and gave both of them ointment. It says ointment, but it's a sandalwood paste, suitable for applying to their bodies. Tatastavanga ragena sovarnetar shobhina samprapta parabhagena shushubhate anuranjito. Anointed with these most excellent cosmetics, which adorned them with hues that contrasted with their complexions, the two lords appeared extremely beautiful. The Acharya suggests that Krishna spread yellow ointment upon his body and Balram blue ointment upon his. So they put on contrast colors and they look extremely beautiful. Prasanno Bhagavan Kubjam Trivakram Ruchirananam Rijvim Kartum Manashchakre Darshayan Darshane Phalam. Lord Krishna was pleased with Trivakra, so he decided to straighten that hunchbacked girl with the lovely face just to demonstrate the result of seeing him. Padbhyam akramya prapade draya angulyuttan panina pragriya chibuke adhyatmam uddinam mat achyuta. Pressing down on her toes with both his feet, Lord Achyuta placed one upward pointed finger of each hand under her chin and straightened up her body. That's in the backdrop. You can see Krishna just with one finger, just straightened up her body. Sa tadarju samanangi brihat shroni payodhara mukunda sparshanat sadyo babhu pramadottama. Simply by Lord Mukunda's touch, Trivakra was suddenly transformed into an exquisitely beautiful woman with straight, evenly proportioned limbs and large hips and breasts. Tato rupa gunodarya sampanna prahakeshavam utriyantam akrishya smayanti jata hrichaya. Now endowed with beauty, character, and generosity, Trivakra began to feel lusty desires for Lord Keshav. Taking hold of the end of his upper cloth, she smiled and addressed him as follows. Ehi vir griham yamo natvam tyaktum ihutsahe tvayon matita chittaya prasida purusha rishab. Trivakra said, "Come, O hero, let us go to my house. I cannot bear to leave you here. O best of males, please take pity on me, since you have agitated my mind." Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur supplies the following conversation. Krishna, is it for the purpose of dining that you're inviting me to your house? Srivakra, I simply cannot leave you here. Krishna, but people here on the King's Road will misconstrue what you're saying and laugh. Therefore, please don't speak like this. Srivakra, I cannot help being agitated. You made the mistake of touching me. It's not my fault. Evam Striya Yachimana Krishno Ramasya Pashata Mukham Vikhyanu Gopanam Prahansastam Uvachaha. Thus entreated by the women, Lord Krishna first glanced at the face of Balaram, who was watching the incident, and then at the faces of the cowherd boys. Then with a laugh, Krishna replied to her as follows. Krishna was like, not in front of Balaramji, you cannot make these kind of proposals to me. And my friends are here. Eshyami te griham subhro punsam adhi vikarshanam sadhitartho grihanam na pantanam tvam parayanam. Lord Krishna said, O lady with beautiful eyebrows, as soon as I fulfill my purpose, I'll certainly visit your house where men can relieve their anxiety. Indeed, you're the best refuge for us homeless travelers. Krishna is saying, he's referring to himself as a homeless traveler. By the word agrahana, Sri Krishna indicated that not only that he had no fixed residence, but also that he was not yet married. Visrijya madhavya vanya tam vrajan marge vanikpatha kano payan tambula srag gandhe sagrajo architaha. Leaving her with these sweet words, Lord Krishna walked further down the road. The merchants along the way worshipped him and his elder brother by presenting them with various respectful offerings, including pan, garlands, and fragrant substances. Tadarshana smarak shobhan, atmanam na vidan sriyaha, visrisastavasa kavar, balya lekhya murteya. The sight of Krishna aroused Cupid in the hearts of the city women. Thus agitated, they forgot themselves. Their clothes, braids, and bangles became disabled and they stood as still as figures in a painting. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti states that since the women of Mathura immediately experienced symptoms of conjugal attraction, when they saw Krishna, they were the most advanced devotees in the city. The 10 effects of Cupid are described as follows. First comes attraction, expressed through the eyes, then intense attachment in the mind, then determination, loss of sleep, becoming emaciated, disinterest in external things, shamelessness, madness, becoming stunned, and death, finally death. These are the 10 stages of Cupid's effects. So this is when it happens in a material way, but same things can happen when somebody has conjugal attraction towards Krishna. But if somebody has that towards Krishna, then he is the most advanced devotee. That's what it says. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, most advanced devotees in the city. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also points out that devotees who possess pure love of Godhead generally do not exhibit the symptom of death, since this is inauspicious in relation to Krishna. They do, however, manifest the other 9 symptoms, culminating in becoming stunned in ecstasy. Tatah Pauran Parichamano Dhanusha Sthanamachyata Tasmin Pravishto Dadrishe Dhanurendram Ivadhutam. Lord Krishna then asked the local people where the arena was in which the bow sacrifice would take place. When he went there, he saw the amazing bow which resembled Lord Indra's. So again, there was a bow, just like Lord Ram Leela, there was a bow. Purushara Bahu Bhirguptam Architam Paramardhimat Vari Manu Nirbhi Krishna Prasaya Dhanuradade. The most opulent bow was guarded by a great company of men who were respectfully worshipping it. Krishna pushed his way forward and despite the guard's attempt to stop him, picked it up. Karena vamena salilam udhritam sadyam chakritva nimishena pashyatam dridam vikrishya prabhajam madhyato yathekshu dandam madkaryo. Easily lifting the bow with his left hand, Lord Urukram strung it in a fraction of a second as the king's guards looked on. He then powerfully pulled the string and snapped the bow in half, just as an excited elephant might break a stalk of sugarcane. So here, Shukdev Goswami used the name Urukram, Lord Urukram. Urukram is one who does wonderful pastimes, activities. And what is so difficult for Krishna to do all this? Just those who don't have devotion, they look at it, oh, it's so wonderful or so powerful. He looks like a little boy, but he just picked up the bow and strung it and broke it in half. Broke it in half. Dhanusha bhajya manasya shabda kamarodasi disha urya masa shyam shrutva kansa srasam upagamat. The sound of the bows breaking filled the earth and sky in all directions. Upon hearing it, Kansa was struck with terror. Tadrakshina sanucharam kupita atataina grihitu kama avavrur gryatam badyatam iti. The enraged guards then took up their weapons and wanted to seize Krishna, and his companions surrounded them and shouted, grab him, kill him. Atatandur abhiprayan vilokya balakeshavo krudho dhanman adaya shakle tansha jagnatu. Seeing the guards coming upon them with evil intent, Balram and Keshav took up the two halves of the bow and began them down. So this is the first time in all the Krishna, first time they picked up any weapon. They didn't pick up any weapon in Mathura. And killing washerman, of course, he didn't pick up any weapon. He just killed him by the tip of his fingertips. But now these guards attacked them. Krishna Balram picked up what? Two halves of the bow and began striking them. Balam cha kansa prahitam hatva shala mukhatata nishkramya cheratur harishto nirikshapur sampada. After also killing a contingent of soldiers sent by Kansa, Krishna and Balram left the sacrificial arena by its main gate and continued their walk about the city, happily looking at the opulent sights. So they just killed the guards and they are still doing their site visit. Or this sightseeing. They're gone for sightseeing. Tayostadadbhutam viryam nishamya purvasina teja pragalbhyam rupam cha menire vibudhotamam. Having witnessed the amazing deed Krishna and Balram had performed and seeing their strength, boldness, and beauty, the people of the city thought they must be two prominent demigods. Tayor vicharato swaram aditya astamapeyavan Krishna Ramo Vrito Gope Puracha Kattapmiyutu. As he strolled about at will, the sun began to set. So they left the city with the cowherd boys and returned to the cowherd's wagon encampment, where Nand Baba and they had made the camp outside the city. Gopya Mukunda Vigme Virhaturaya Asha Sata Shishirita Madhupurya Bhuvan Sampashyatam Purusha Bhushana Gatra Lakshmi Hitve Taranu Bhajatash Chakame Ayanam Shri. At the time of Mukunda's, Krishna's departure from Vrindavan, the gopis had foretold that the residents of Mathura would enjoy many benedictions, and now the gopis' predictions were coming true. For those residents were gazing upon the beauty of Krishna the jewel among men. Indeed, the goddess of fortune desired the shelter of that beauty, so much so that she abandoned many other men, although they worshipped her. Because this is the beauty of Krishna, attracts everybody. Avnitangri yuglo bhuktva kshiropasechanam oshitustam sukham ratrim gyatva kansa chikirshitam. After Krishna's Balram's feet were bathed, the two lords ate rice with milk. Then, although knowing what Kansa intended to do, they spent the night there comfortably in the camp. So they spent the night comfortably. But look at Kansa, what happened to him. Kansastu dhanusho bhangam rakshinam swabalasya cha vadham nishamya govinda rama vikriditam param. Dirgha praja garo bhito durnimitani durmati bahune chashto bhayatha mrityor dotya karani cha. Wicked King Kansa, on the other hand, was terrified, having heard how Krishna and Balram had broken the bow and killed his guards and soldiers, all simply as a game. He remained awake for a long time, and both while awake and while dreaming, he saw many bad omens, messengers of death. So look at Kansa and look at Krishna Ram. They slept very nicely, comfortably. Adarshanam so shirasa pratirupe cha satyapi asatyapi dvitiye cha dvairupyam jyotisham yatha jyotisham tatha chidra pratitash chayayam prana ghoshanu pashruti swarna pratitir vriksheshu swapadanam adarshanam swapne preta parishvanga kharayanam vishadanam yaya naladam maliyekas Tela bhyakto digambara anyani chetam bhutani swapna jagritani cha pasyan marana santrasto nidram levena chintaya. Look at this poor guy. When he looked at his reflection, he could not see his head. For no reason, the moon and stars appeared double. He saw a hole in his shadow. He could not hear the sound of his life air. Trees seemed covered with a golden hue, and he could not see his footprints. Means he must be taken away by Yamdutas. He dreamt that he was being embraced by ghosts, riding a donkey and drinking poison, and also that a naked man smeared with oil was passing by wearing a garland of Nalada flowers. Seeing these and other such omens, both while dreaming and while awake, Kansa was terrified by the prospect of death, and out of anxiety, he could not sleep. Vyushtayam nishikoravya surya chad bhaya samutate karya masavai kanso malla krida mahotsavam. When the night had finally passed and the sun rose up again from the water, Kansa set about arranging for the grand wrestling festival. Anarchu Purusharangam Turya Bherya Shajagnire Mancha Shalankrita Sragbi Pataka Chalatorane. The king's men performed the ritual worship of the wrestling arena, sounded their drums and other instruments, and decorated the viewing galleries with garlands, flags, ribbons, and arches. Teshu pora janpada brahmakshatra purogamaha yathopajosham vivishu raja nascha kritasana. The city dwellers and residents of the outlying districts, led by Brahmins and Kshatriyas, came and sat down comfortably in the galleries. The royal guests received special seats. Kansa parivratto amatya rajamancha upavishat mandaleshwar madhyastho hirden viduyata. Surrounded by his ministers, Kansa took his seat on the imperial dais. But even as he sat amidst his various provincial rulers, his heart trembled. So Shukdev Goswami is making sure that we understand what he is going through. Vadyamanesu turiyeshu malla talorottareshu cha malla svalankrita tripta sopadhyaya samasita. While the musical instruments loudly played in the rhythmic meters appropriate for wrestling matches, the lavishly ornamented wrestlers proudly entered the arena with their coaches and sat down. Chanuro mushtika kuta shalastoshal evacha the ased urupasthanam valguvadya praharshita. Enthused by the pleasing music, Chanur and Mushtik Kuta Shal Toshal sat down on the wrestling mat. Nanda Gopa Dayo Gopa Bhoja Raja Samapta Niveditopa Yanasa Ekasmin Mancha Avishan. Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherds, summoned by the king of the Bhojas, means Kansa, presented him with their offerings and then took their seats in one of the galleries. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the word Samahta indicates that King Kansa respectfully called the leaders of Raja forward so that they could make their offerings to the central government. According to the Acharya, Kansa assured Nanda as follows: My dear king of Raj, you are the most important of my village rulers. Yet even though you have come to Mathura from a cowherd village, you have not come to visit me. Is it because you're frightened? Don't think that your two sons are bad because they broke the bow. I invited them here because I heard they were extremely powerful, and I've arranged this wrestling match as a test of their strength. So please come forward without hesitation. Don't be afraid. So indirectly, he's telling Nanda Baba that, well, I have so many powerful wrestlers, they're going to kill Krishna and Balram. And don't think they broke the bow because they broke the law, but it's okay. Forgiving them for that. So he basically is trying to hide his fear. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further states that Nanda Maharaj noticed that his two sons were not present. Apparently, out of disrespect for King Kansa's order, they had taken the morning off and gone elsewhere. Because Krishna and Balram, they did not come with Nanda Baba. They had other things to do also. Thus, Kansa delegated some cowherd men to look for them and advise them to behave properly and come back to the wrestling arena. The Acharya also states that the reason Nanda and other cowherd men sat in the galleries was that they could not find any sitting places on the royal dais. And of course, they are Vaishyas. The royal dais is for Kshatriyas. But this is a material calculation, obviously. They are much more advanced than any king. Nanda Baba is father of Krishna. But as a matter of social etiquette, they just sat in the galleries. They're waiting for Krishna and Balram to come. So thus ends the purport to 10th canto, 42nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Breaking of the Sacrificial Bow. So we still have time, so we can start the next chapter. Next chapter, 43. Krishna kills the elephant, Kuvalya Pira. Next one. Shri Shukuvacha, Atha Krishnascha Ramascha, Krita Shocho Parantapa, Malla Dundu Bhir Nirghosham, Shrutva Drishtum Upeyatu. Shukdev Goswami said, O chastiser of the enemies, Krishna and Balram, having executed all necessary purification, then heard the kettle drums resounding at the wrestling arena. They went there to see what was happening. Srila Sridhar Swami explains the words Krita Shocho, having executed all necessary purification, as follows. 2 days previously, Krishna and Balram had executed their purification, the relief from offense, by performing heroic deeds. The Lord reasoned, even after we have made our power known by breaking the bow and by performing other feats, our parents have still not secured Kansa is again trying to kill them. Therefore, although he is our maternal uncle, it will not be wrong for us to kill him. They assured their offenselessness by this reasoning. Rangadwaram samasadya tasminnagam avasthitam apashyat kolya pidam Krishno ambashta prajotitam. When Lord Krishna reached the entrance to the arena, he saw the elephant Kuvalya Pida blocking his way at the urging of his keeper. The elephant keeper revealed his malicious intent by blocking Lord Krishna's entrance into the arena. Badhva parikaram shori samuya kutilalakan uvacha hastipam vacha meghanada gaviriya. Securely binding up his clothes and tying back his curly locks, Lord Krishna addressed the elephant keeper with words as grave as the rumbling of a cloud. Lord Krishna was obviously preparing for a fight. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, the Lord put aside his jacket, tightened his belt, and tied back his hair. Okay, let's go for the fight. Ambashthambashth margam no deya pakram machiram no chetasa kunjaram tvadya nayami yama sadhanam. Lord Krishna said, "Oh driver, move aside at once and let us pass. If you don't, this very day I will send both you and your elephant to the abode of Yamaraj." Evam nirbharsito ambashtha kopitam gajam chodyam masa krishnaya kalantak yamopamam. Thus threatened, the elephant keeper became angry. He goaded his furious elephant, who appeared equal to time, death, and Yamaraj, into attacking Lord Krishna. Karindrastam abhidrutya karena tarsagrahit karadavigalita somum nihatyanghrishvaliyata. The Lord of the Elephants charged Krishna and violently seized him with his trunk. But Krishna slipped away, struck him with a blow, and disappeared from his view among his legs. Lord Krishna struck the elephant with his fist and then disappeared among his legs. So the elephant could not see him when Krishna disappeared among his legs. Sankruddhastamak chakshano grana drishti sakeshavam paramrishat pushkarena saprasaya vinirgata. Infuriated at being unable to see Lord Keshu, the elephant sought him out with a sense of smell. Once again, Kolyapida seized the Lord with the end of his trunk, only to have the Lord forcefully free himself. Lord Krishna allowed the elephant to seize him so that the beast could be encouraged to keep fighting. Once Kolyapida had thus become proud, Krishna again thwarted him with his superior potency. So Krishna freed himself again. Puchhe pragriyati balam dhanusha panchavichitam vinshatim vichakarsha yathanagam suparna eva lilaya. Lord Krishna then grabbed the powerful Kavalya Pida by the tail and playfully dragged him 25 bow lengths as easily as Garuda might drag a snake. Huge elephant Kavalya Pida was. But Krishna just playfully dragged him 25 bow lengths. Saparyavartamanena savya dakshino achyutaha Brahma brahme manena govacsaneva balaka. As Lord Achyuta held on to the elephant's tail, the animal tried to twist away to the left and to the right, making the Lord swerve in the opposite direction, as a young boy would swerve when pulling a calf by the tail. Tato abhimakham bhayetya pani na hatya varanam padravan patyamasa sparshimana pade pade. Krishna then came face to face with the elephant and slammed him and ran away. Kolyapida pursued the Lord, managing to touch him again and again with each step, but Krishna outmaneuvered the elephant and made him trip and fall. So dhavan kridya bhumo patitva sahasotitha tammatva patitam kruddho dantabhyam so anahat chitim. As Krishna dodged about, he playfully fell on the ground and quickly got up again. The raging elephant, thinking Krishna was down, tried to gore him with his tusks, but struck the earth instead. So Vikrame pratihate kunjarendro atimarshitaha chauddiman mahamatra Krishnam abhyadrava. His prowess foiled, the lordly elephant Kovalyapida went into frenzied rage out of frustration. But the elephant keepers goaded him on, and he furiously charged Krishna once again. Tama patantam asadya Bhagwan Madhusudanam Nigriya Panina Pastam Patya Masu Bhutale. The Supreme Lord, killer of the demon Madhu, confronted the elephant as he attacked. Seizing his trunk with one hand, Krishna threw him to the ground. Patitasya padakrasya mrigendra lileya dantam utpatya tenebham hasti pancha handhari pacha handhari. Lord Hari then climbed onto the elephant with the ease of a mighty lion, pulled out a tusk, and with it killed the beast and his keepers. Mritikam dvipam utsrijya dantapani samavishat asanyastat vishanu asring mad bindu abhirankita virudas sved kanika vadanam buruho vabho. Leaving the dead elephant aside, Lord Krishna held on to the tusk and entered the wrestling arena. With the tusk resting on his shoulder, drops of the elephant's blood and sweat sprinkled all over him, and his lotus face covered with fine drops of his own perspiration. The Lord shone with great beauty. So Krishna took one tusk and Balramji took the other tusk of the elephant, and they both entered the arena. So this Kovalyapida is also, there's some history to him. So it is said, after Krishna killed the elephant Kovalyapida, along with his caretaker, the spirit soul of the elephant merged into the body of the Lord. So Maharaj Bahulashva asked why he became an elephant in the first place, why he entered the body of the Lord. So Narad Muni explained, Bali Maharaj had a son called Mandagati, who was the best of all warriors and was as strong as 100,000 elephants. 100,000, that too in Satyuga. Once while he was on a pilgrimage in Rangashetra, he pushed his way through a crowd of people, pressing people away with his powerful arms, as if he were a maddened elephant. Unfortunately for Mandagati, one of the people pushed down to the ground was the old sage Trita Muni, who became very angry and cursed Bali's wild and powerful son, thus, pushing people on the way to Rangakshetra, you have become like a wild elephant. Fool, I curse you to become an elephant. Immediately, Mandagati became an elephant, and although he was formerly a powerful Daitya, he lost his power and splendor. He could understand that the sage he pushed down was very powerful, and thus he bowed before him and with folded hands and circumambulated him. Mandagati said to the sage that he was an ocean of mercy, the king of the yogis and the best of the Brahmins. He asked when he would become freed from being an elephant. He admitted that he should have never offended a great saint like Trita Muni. For such sages have the power to curse even the most powerful demons, and they have the power to bless anyone as well. Trita Muni was pacified by these humble words of the Daitya, and thus the kind and exalted Brahman spoke, his anger gone. He said that he was pleased with the Daitya's devotion. However, Whatever he spoke could not be false, and therefore, although Mandagati would remain as an elephant, he would simultaneously get a benediction that even the demigods cannot attain. While requesting the Daitya not to lament, Muni said that in the future, in Mathura, he would attain liberation at the hands of Lord Krishna. Mandagati thus became an elephant in the Vindhya hills. He was as strong as 10,000 elephants. Because he was so powerful, King Jarasandha captured him with the aid of 100,000 other elephants and gave him as a wedding present to King Kamsa. So Kamsa was son-in-law of Jarasandha. Later, when engaged by Kamsa to kill Krishna, he was killed by the Lord and merged into his form. So powerful demons, Daityas, and everybody is getting killed by Krishna. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful pastime. While hearing, I was just recalled this, Baldao when they were child, right? I think first 13 years they were in Braj, Gokul and so many places. So Baldao, I think he was doing agriculture, right, with Nanda Baba during his childhood. That's why he has always, we call it as a weapon for him also, his mace or plow, right? Or is it something?
Well, him and Krishna, they did both. But mostly they would take care of the cows. And not 13 years.
I've seen it's very heavy actually. It's not easy to.
They were 10 years and 8 months when they left for Mathura, when they came to Mathura.
10 years, 8 months. That's very, very young. Very young.
Yeah, but it's all beautiful pastimes.
Yep.
Yeah. Chalo, so I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri
Hare
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.